ITDC and the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, welcome you to the Sonne Lumiere at the Old Fort. Ishq-e Dilli is the story of the historic events of Delhi to this day. Please switch off your mobile phones. Commercial photography is prohibited here. Ladies and gentlemen, for your pleasure, may we present Ishq-e Dilli.
A mode of dust is tiny, but it tells the direction of mighty winds.
It is my destiny and my nature to flow with the eternal winds of time. I have seen its myriad faces in the journey of my life. Cities born of my womb lie buried in my heart. The hearty city of Delhi, an endless tale of uprooting and resurrection with its phoenix-like character. One came to plunder, another to settle down, but each one found an abode here. Delhi embraced them with open arms. History is a witness to these glorious love affairs, and the proof lies in the 10 cities whose stories were erased, and yet the saga continues. This is the essence of this love, the very fragrance of the universe. Present in the 7th city of time, the story I regale is the story of grace and music, politics and love, of kingdoms and saints. Lovers of different hues appeared. The beloved remained Delhi.
The twain shall never meet, but one is unimaginable without the other. Where there is earth, it will be engulfed by the sky. The speck of dust, witness to the antics of time, inscribed this fable of love in the book of his heart. And I, steady, stable, watched its next turn.
24 yards, 8 digits a door. Is seated the Sultan. Don't miss him, Chauhan.
Prithvi Raj Chauhan. The very first chapter opens on the name of this renowned warrior prince. After travelling through Rajasthan, Gujarat and eastern Punjab, when this Rajput prince from Ajmer placed his eyes on Delhi, he could not resist its manifold charms and made it his capital. What remains of this Rajput's glorious reign today is the fortress of Kila Rai Pithora near Ladosarai. Prithvi Raj Chauhan's bravery was renowned in the land. He was famous as the one whose arrows pierced words. To save Delhi from getting vanquished, he fought twice with the Turk Muhammad Ghori. The battlefield of Tarayan turned red with pools of blood. Chand Bardai, in his Prithvi Raj Raso, has sung of Chauhan's bravery in 1300 ballads. It is said that Ghori made Chauhan captive and blinded him. Chauhan, not to be outdone, used his word-piercing arrow to take Ghori's life. It is the fervour and imagination of Chand Bardai that weaves this tale, for I do know that Prithvi Raj fell in the bloody battle of Tarayan. The year was 1191 AD. Although Muhammad Ghori was able to conquer Delhi, he could not remain here. War in Iran was constantly under attack, and he had to hand over the reins of Delhi to his slave Qutubuddin Aibak and return to his own land. In a bizarre turn of events, Ghori died untimely, and his slave Qutubuddin Aibak happened to be the first Sultan of Delhi. The Turkish sultans would purchase slaves from the markets of Bukhara and Samarkand and train a select few in the art of combat and then grant them high titles. One such slave, Iltutmish, was blessed in his stars. Within 4 years, Qutbuddin Aibak passed away. Qutbuddin had married off his daughter with a slave of his. Qutb's slave, son-in-law and governor of Badayu, Shamsuddin Iltutmish, thus came to be the second Sultan of Delhi. The city, built by the Turks in 1206, is still known as Qutb Mehroli. The White Palace, Red Palace, Green Palace, the Mosque Qubatul Islam, madrasas and minars were the pride of this beautiful city. Indian masons and artisans embraced new artistic inputs and merged them effortlessly with traditional forms. The palaces and mosques are now reduced to ashes, but the 74-meter high tower of the Sufi saint Bakhtiyar Kaki stands tall even today. Hauz-e Shamsi, built by Iltutmish, kept the city quenched. In their reign of 85 years, the Turks made Delhi into a very big center of governance. Iltutmish's fame spread as far away as Punjab, Bengal and Multan. After the glorious era of King Harshvardhan, this was India's second sunrise.
The speck of dust was entrenched in these stories of time. Iltutmish was on his deathbed and worried about the future of his kingdom. Now what was to take place, the annals of history had perhaps never witnessed.
My sons are debauched, lost in youthful avarice, and not even one is fit to ascend the throne. Razia, my daughter, is most capable and wise. Razia shall be the Sultan upon my death.
Indeed, Razia Sultan ignored the Parda, learned the strategy of governance and sat on the throne of Delhi for 3 years. And then this star too faded away. The Hauz-e Shamsi of Iltutmish kept Qutb Mehroli well watered. But getting the hot stones of Aravali to produce water was a futile task. The increasing population in the 13th century then settled on the western banks of Yamuna, and thus came about Kaikobad's Kilokri. Today's Jangpura extension is the Kilokri of erstwhile times. The ravages of time have of course left no trace of its existence. My memoirs were so inscribed by Ziauddin Barni on the pages of Tarikh-e-Feroz Shahi. In this city was one passionate lover of Delhi, Tutiye-Hind, Hazrat Amir Khusro. If his poems spoke of the sultans, they also spoke of his undying love for Delhi. If they were given to questions of philosophy and thought, they were also redolent with youthful romance. The worldly and soulful poetry of Khusro flowed from the courts of the sultans to the dargah of Sheikh Nizamuddin, from the fort walls to the narrow alleys, and his words overflowed with his love for Delhi. Khusro spoke of his love in 5 languages: Persian, Khadi Boli, Braj, Avdhi and Punjabi Multani. A court poet with 5 sultans, the poetry of Khusro was born of the land which is a melting pot of 2 major cultures. It owes its existence neither to Hindui nor Persian, Braj or Avdhi, but is resonant of his own unique style. Born in Etah in the Doab, Khusro arrived in Delhi at the tender age of 8 years and now lies buried in her arms. However, he shall live in my heart till the end of time. I sometimes hear the winds hum the song of his love.
छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मुँह से नैना मिलाए के। छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मुँह से नैना मिलाए के। प्रेम बटिका मधुआ पिलाए के। प्रेम बटिका मधुआ पिलाए के। मतवारी कर दे रे मुँह से नैना मिलाए के। छाप तिलक सब छीनी रे मुँह से नैना 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 मिलाए के। खुसरो निजाम पे बलि बलि गई रे। खुसरो निजाम पे बलि बलि गई रे। मोहे सुहागन की रे मुँह से नैना मिलाए के। मोहे सुहागन की रे मुँह से नैना 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 मिलाए के।
Neither Alexander nor remain the dark times. How vain lie nameless without tree.
Time is fond of the twists of the game of chess, or perhaps it is the cyclic nature of the universe. What is born shall die, and what is dead shall be reborn. The time had signaled an end for the glory of Kaikobad's court. The Khalji chieftains conspired, and one day Kaikobad was found dead on the banks of the river Yamuna. And with this, the reign of the slave dynasty, which began with Qutbuddin Aibak in the hillocks of Aravali, came to an end on these very banks of river Yamuna. 1290 saw Jalaluddin Khalji, the traitor chieftain of Kaikobad, establish a new dynasty to rule over Delhi. As the days went by, the city flourished. The palace became more ostentatious. Markets were established. The city was walled and named Sheher-e-Nau, or a new city. However, in this continuous saga of resurrection and doom, the story was to take another twist. Far away on the banks of the Ganga, near Kada Manikpur, Jalaluddin Khalji's nephew, Alauddin Khalji, murdered him, lusting the throne of Delhi. It was raining heavily when he rode into the city gates, squandering coins of gold, and held the court not in Shehr-e-Nau but in Qutub Mehroli. Hauz Khas was built and kept the city quenched. Kilokri was now a forgotten story. The dawn of the Khaljis was the dusk for Kilokri. War is a synonym for destruction, yet the city of Siri was born on a battlefield. A storm arose from the borders of China, engulfing Iran, Middle Asia and Russia. This was a tribe which under the aegis of Genghis Khan had laid claim on much of the territories of the old world. When Delhi was attacked, Alauddin Khalji removed his crown and put on his armor. He handed the keys of the harem and treasury to his general and set up a camp in the far-away flat grounds of Siri. An intense battle ensued and Alauddin Khalji emerged victorious. On these victory grounds was built a great two-story palace called Kasr-e-Hazar Sutun, which stood on 1,000 pillars. Gradually, Siri came into existence around it. The ruins of the 46 feet high wall of lime and stone, which defined the city of Siri, are still visible today near the Siri Fort Auditorium. Alauddin Khalji was not a fundamentalist and eluded the clutches of the priests. History may call him a tyrant, yet Sufi Sheikh Nasruddin Charag says that he had his own independent view. He reduced the salary of his forces when he went for battle against the Mongols. At the same time, he also reduced the prices of commodities. The markets of Delhi were flooded with goods for his subjects. After his death, the people of Delhi blessed him in their prayers and tied pious threads to his grave. This is now turned into a conviction that has been fostered by time and exists till date. It is a sign of Delhi's love that turned a tyrant into a saint in his death. His son Qutubuddin Khalji did ascend the throne, but like a guest. One day, one of his chieftains, Ghazi Malik, advised Qutubuddin to build a new city. He looked at him askance, gave a condescending smile and said, "When you become a sultan, then you build your city." I do not know if it was a satire or time had prophesied through Khalji's words.